All right, motherfucks. Let me tell you the truth here, okay? Let me say it to you like it is. We have to talk about this. You know, very rarely do I do a video about one particular segment, but this has to be addressed. You know, I didn't do an AEW review because, quite frankly, I forgot. I didn't give a flying fuck. I didn't enjoy AEW, so I don't think I did a review this week. Or did I? I don't even remember, motherfuckers. The facts are what the facts are. The last match was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. In terms of wrestling, this was the worst thing ever. Now, here's why it pisses me off. Because if it happened in a different context, it would have been amazing. But because it happened the way it happened, it came off as the worst thing I've ever seen. For those of you that had the privilege of not watching AEW this week, you would know, motherfucks, that I'm talking about Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin for the mid-card title, okay? This match was all right. It had a lot of interference. It was like a no holds barred, falls count anywhere type of affair, motherfucks. This match had a lot of moments. The end of the match was inexcusable. So the end of the match basically is this. Matt Hardy low blows Darby Allin. Matt Hardy gets a chair, opens it up, puts Darby Allin's head in it, like he did to Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania, and does a twist of fate with Darby Allin's head in a chair. So he basically bounces Darby Allin's face off of the chair as the chair hits the ground while opened up. I'm like, this should be a 100% pin. Like, not even Hulk Hogan should kick out of this. Not even John Cena should kick out of this. Darby Allin does. Now I'm thinking to myself, all right, you've accomplished what you needed to accomplish. You've put over Darby Allin as a really tough competitor. Matt Hardy should win this match based on that move. So I'm thinking to myself, the next logical step is Hardy does it again. And then Darby Allin doesn't kick out. No, even worse. Hardy puts him on a table, climbs a ladder, and leg drops him. Immediately after this move didn't work. Pins him. I'm like, surely this is enough. No, it's not, motherfucks. Darby Allin kicks out at 2. Then Darby Allin gets a bat, hits Matt Hardy a few times, climbs the rafters and hits a coffin drop through a table, and that's it. Darby Allin wins after surviving, motherfucks, a leg drop from a ladder through a table and a steel chair assisted twist of fate. Hold up, motherfucks. Hold up. If this happened in a different context, it would be an incredible finish to a pretty good match. The context which this would be justified in would be 3 years from now, if Darby Allin had gone on a 3-year winning streak, not losing one match, and then becoming TNA World Champion. Or maybe not even becoming champion, just going on an incredible winning streak, winning like 95% of his matches over the course of 3 years, establishing himself as a legitimate main event guy, and then wrestling Matt Hardy, who is the world champion, at the first ever Super WrestleMania-esque AEW show. At the greatest AEW show of all time, if this match happened, it would be okay. Because Darby Allin would have had some time to be established as a guy that cannot go down to simple moves. And not even go down to incredible moves. Now you tell me, motherfucks, how is Darby Allin going to drop the title? How is it going to happen? With Cody Rhodes hitting a crossroads? What more needs to be done to Darby Allin for him to drop the title? I can't think of anything worse than a twist of fate through a chair and a leg drop through a table. What needs to happen? A bomb? I don't understand where you go from here. Especially when this isn't even in a pay-per-view. Especially when this isn't even for the world title. This is for the Intercontinental title on free TV. At the pay-per-view, you'll have Darby Allin do like a roll-up and pin his challenger. This match was a main event caliber affair. The way it was booked. The match itself was all right, but the way it was booked It was booked as if it was like Mick Foley versus Terry Funk right now. You know, like the two greatest hardcore wrestlers, they're kicking out of everything. You know? Or Terry Funk versus Mick Foley at their prime. You know what I mean? Remember when it was Edge versus Mick Foley at WrestleMania? It was booked like that, where people are kicking out of spears like left and right. Because they're like tough motherfucks. Mick Foley's a tough motherfuck. So he gets to kick out because he's Mick Foley. Darby Allin is Darby Allin, motherfucker. He's like 23. And he's kicking out of a move that put away Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania. Jeff Hardy didn't kick out of one of those moves at WrestleMania. And Jeff Hardy is a legend. And it was a WrestleMania grudge match. One of the highlights of that WrestleMania in many ways. Edge got put out by a leg drop from the top of a cage at the height of Edge's push, right before he became champion. In what eventually turned out to be a throwaway feud. Because Edge kept going, Matt Hardy was moved to SmackDown. Think about that, motherfuckers. Think about that. Think about what that means. A move that put down Edge. A move at a pay-per-view. A move that put down Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania. Both of these moves combined could not put away Darby Allin for the European title, motherfucks, on a throwaway episode of Dynamite. So, when it's time for Darby Allin to wrestle at whatever, Bound for Glory, whatever the fuck they call their Bound for Glory, right? When it's time for him to wrestle, let's say Hangman Page or something, I'm going to need to see Darby Allin thrown off of a 20-story building onto thumbtacks while the thumbtacks are on fire, with two crocodiles roaming by to eat his carcass after he dies. And even then, I expect him to kick out at 2. Have you fucking lost your minds? Darby Allin has been booked in a way where if you ever want Darby Allin to be in a 10-minute match, it becomes unrealistic. Nobody in the world should be able to beat Darby Allin in a 10-minute match with one finishing move. I don't care what the move is. If Big Show chokeslamming Darby Allin in a 10-minute match should not be enough to put Darby Allin down. Matt Hardy did a move that was presented in WWE as a career-ending move. It's like the concerto, motherfucks. It would be like kicking out of the concerto. The concerto obviously doesn't hurt that much because, first of all, they miss on purpose. But the concerto in storyline is presented as a move that will put out everyone. Did anyone notice how on Friday night, Edge and Daniel Bryan were nowhere to be fucked? They were nowhere to be seen. They're still selling the concerto. They should be out for weeks after that. That's how the move should be sold. Kind of like Randy Orton's punt kick. The punt kick puts people out for 3 months. Imagine if someone kicks out of it. If Randy Orton went to AEW, the first thing they would do is they would have Kenny Omega kick out of the punt kick. Just completely demoralize all finishers. And then periodically end the match with a super kick. The Young Bucks do 15 super kicks a match. And now they can end the match with a super kick? Have you lost your mind? This is the main problem with AEW. It is completely unbelievable. I will say, of course, I thought Matt Hardy had it won after both moves. No way did I think that Darby Allin would be booked as a mixture of John Cena and Hulk Hogan. He's Darby Allin. And it surprised me. But this was not a good surprise, cucks. This was not the kind of surprise that you look at it and you say, wow, you guys really had me there, man. You did a good job, motherfucks. You did a good job. You got me good. You tricked me. It wasn't like that. This was presented as it is so unreasonable that I have no reason to continue watching this. After he kicked out of the leg drop, I was like, obviously, there is no chance Matt Hardy wins. Because what more can he do? Darby Allin beats his ass with a bat. That is believable. You beat someone with a bat, you hit him with a bat several times, and then you jump off the rafters onto the table. It's believable. But it's no more believable than what Matt Hardy did to Darby Allin. You have to have some respect for Matt Hardy. And you have to have some respect for Matt Hardy's moves. You know what I mean? The idea that WWE holds people like Matt Hardy back because they have short matches doesn't mean shit when Matt Hardy has a long match, does all his moves, does enhanced versions of his finisher, and still loses. That's even worse. Because at least when you lose in WWE in 10 minutes, you lost in WWE. You didn't lose to Darby Allin. You see what I'm saying, motherfuckers? Aside from the fact that Darby Allin winning the title, or retaining the title, I should say, means nothing, That's neither here nor there. I don't care about that. That's their own decision. You know, you want to keep Darby Allin as champion, I get it. I'm not against it. But you have to have some sort of reason to make me want to buy the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is where I should be seeing shit like this. It becomes more special if you see that in a pay-per-view because the other 15 days, the other 15 weeks or whatever, however long they have between pay-per-views here, the other 15 weeks, I've seen shittier matches, shorter matches, not these epic slugfests that really take away from the pay-per-view model. Why would I want to see this match ever again? The worst that could ever happen to Darby Allin has happened, and it only got a 2 count. I want to go back and see Darby Allin getting pinned by like Joey Janela or some shit after like a power bomb or whatever the fuck Joey Janela does. How? How did Darby Allin get so much more resilient these last few weeks? How, motherfucks? Shouldn't there be some sort of logic behind this? If Darby Allin can kick out of this, I don't care if Cage hits the drill claw on him. Why would the drill claw hurt more than Matt Hardy using a chair to twist the fate of a motherfucker? Think about it. Nothing can put this guy down now. I don't care if Undertaker appears in TNA and tombstones Darby Allin. Darby Allin should kick out at 1. This guy is invincible. He has been booked so strong that when he invariably gets shuffled back into the card, he will get powerbombed by a Brody Lee again and get pinned. Just get pinned after a powerbomb. He just kicked out of a fucking twist of fate through a chair. How can this guy be put down? When the next guy comes to AEW that they want to put over, like eventually they might have Christian versus Darby Allin, and Christian's going to get that rub. He's going to get that win. He's going to hit the unprettier on him, and Darby Allin's going to kick out once, and he's going to hit the unprettier again, and that's going to be that. Think about it. 2 unprettiers, twist the fate with a chair, and then leg drop through a table from a ladder. In what world this is going to be tolerable? Think about it, motherfucks. Think about what this means. This means that AEW Wrestling has no idea what makes a match dramatic. They think doing killer moves and someone kicking out at 2 is what makes it good. No, motherfucks. What makes it good is building anticipation. The pedigree, for the longest time, was a move that nobody kicked out of. So when Mick Foley kicked out of the pedigree at Royal Rumble 2000, or was it Royal Rumble 99? I think it was 2000, I don't remember. When Mick Foley kicked out of the pedigree, it was a huge pop. It was an incredible moment because no man had yet to kick out of the pedigree. And it was done. Mick Foley was out of Triple H's hair. But then he kicks out. Then what happens? To reestablish the dominance of the pedigree, Triple H does it again onto thumbtacks. An enhanced version of the move. Much like one might do the twist of fate with a chair. And then even Mick Foley, the only guy to kick out of this, didn't kick out of a pedigree through thumbtacks. Then, fast forward 20 years, Darby Allin is kicking out of like the equivalent of 2 pedigrees through thumbtacks. Are we to believe that Darby Allin is tougher than Mick Foley? Maybe that's what they're going for, and that's fine. It's very possible that Darby Allin is a tougher bitch than Mick Foley. It's very possible. I gotta give Darby Allin his props. Darby Allin is a tough guy. Like, he gets put through shit, he gets thrown around. He's obviously not a pussy. I gotta say it like it is. But it doesn't matter, motherfucks, because this is kayfabe we're talking about. Darby Allin cannot be presented as being stronger than Mick Foley, because then the standard gets set that anyone can supersede anyone. Then the next Darby Allin can kick out of 2 twist of fates, and then that makes the current Darby Allin look like a bitch. Oh, he only kicked out of 1. This guy kicked out of 8. That's where we're headed to, motherfucks. We're headed to a match where 15 finishers later, the guy doesn't get pinned. Then he hits a low blow and does a roll-up and wins. That's not compelling. Finishing moves should end matches. I would argue that if Matt Hardy can accomplish the twist of fate with a chair, no one in the world should kick out of it. Not even Undertaker at WrestleMania. You have to protect some of these moves. The same thing has happened with the Canadian Destroyer. In TNA, no one kicked out of Petey Williams as Canadian Destroyer. Ever. Motherfucks. No one. AJ Styles, Daniels, not one person ever kicked out of the Canadian Destroyer. Now, The Canadian Destroyer is like a regular move. It's more common than the vertical suplex in AEW. And everyone not only kicks out of it, but everyone doesn't give a fuck. It's just like, oh, Destroyer. It's like a DDT. Oh, DDT. Will it be enough? No, it won't be enough, cuck. You have to protect moves, obviously. We all know this. But if you're unwilling to protect moves like the super kick, that's one thing. If you become unwilling to protect things like someone jumping from a ladder and putting you through a table with a leg drop, that's a classic no one gets up from that situation. Like that's enough to end the tables match. You shouldn't be kicking out of something like that. Like if you've noticed in table matches, when someone gets slammed through a table, it's presented as if they're dead. Like you get slammed through a table, you would 100% get pinned after this. Remember when John Cena was beating the shit out of Sheamus, and Sheamus does like a spine buster through a table and puts Cena through a table? Cena didn't just get up and no sell it. Cena sold it as if this match had to be a pinfall or submission only match, Cena would get pinned immediately after being put through the table. Being put through the table in wrestling is the equivalent of being thrown off a building in real life. You're not supposed to get up from it. You're not supposed to. I can't even remember a time where someone kicks out of being put through a table. Except for Darby Allin, you know what I'm saying? Same thing. Being hit with a chair in the head should be enough. The few times when it's not enough, like The Rock and Stone Cold, it's enough right afterwards. Stone Cold hits him again and it's enough. You don't just kick out of these things, motherfucks. So that's the problem. They're not protecting finishers anymore, and now they're not protecting spots. In AEW, you're going to invariably see someone get thrown off of like a Hell in a Cell type thing and kick out at 2. There is no selling anything there. Nothing. Someone like Darby Allin can endure what Matt Hardy did to him. But one paradigm shift, which is essentially a vertical suplex, call it what it is, motherfucks. It's a double underhook vertical suplex that they pretend is like a DDT. One paradigm shift and Darby Allin is dead. You see what I'm saying? That's retarded. That is retarded. So there you have it, cucks. There you have it. This was the worst thing I have ever seen in my life. I've never seen a match worse than this. I'm not exaggerating. This was so bad the way that it was handled and the way that it was presented as well. It was utter garbage. And anyone that defends this is not an intelligent person. They are not a good wrestling fan, as they like to claim. A good wrestling fan needs consistency. Now that the door is open and people can kick out of twist of fates with chairs, what is the point of a finishing move? Why can no one kick out of the Judas effect? But when I put your head through a table and twist of fate you in what really is one of the most painful looking moves ever, you kick out of 2. Darby Allin should have absolutely no problem kicking out of the Judas effect, the cuck roads, the paradigm shift. He should be kicking out at 1 or at 0, between 0 and 1 from all these other moves. This is really stupid. I can't wait till Darby Allin loses his title to like Ethan Page from like a powerbomb, or to Scorpio Sky from whatever fucking move he has. It's not gonna be good, motherfucks. It's not gonna be good. And with that, I leave you guys with this thought. When will this nonsense end? When will enough be enough? All right, cucks, take care of yourself up in this bitch.